Good morning. In the last several videos, I have been establishing that the Gospels are a true account. They are a reliable historical account of Jesus. They can be dated to living memory. There is no dispute that they date back to that time. Their main events about Jesus are independently corroborated by other sources. Their writers were willing to die for what they wrote, not just that Jesus was a miracle worker, but that he claimed to be God and that he rose from the dead. I posited last time C.S. Lewis's famous trilemma. Either we can conclude that Jesus was a liar, that he was a lunatic, or that he in fact was who he claimed, and that is Lord, the Son of the living God. There is very little evidence that Jesus was lying. He was willing to die for what he said. And if he was crazy, how would he have attracted the followers that he did? We are left considering whether, in fact, that Jesus was who he claimed, which is Lord, when we look at the Gospels as historical sources. The question is there proof? Does Jesus offer proof that he was Lord, that he was the Son of the living God? I mean, for the Jews, the fact that he fulfilled the prophecies of the Messiah were particularly important. And when you look at Matthew's gospel, you see that language all the time. For Jesus fulfilled this prophecy or that prophecy, as it was written in the prophet Isaiah, etc. I think that was important for the Jews, who were the first to convert. But for us, I think it's more important to look at Jesus's miracles. And of course, the Gospels are full of miracles. There are healings, there are feedings, the feeding of the 5,000, the feeding of the 4,000, the healing of this leper, that paralytic, that person with blindness. And obviously that was important for those who witnessed it. They couldn't help but be compelled to follow Jesus and accept what he did. And I think that a lot of those miracles were particularly for the moment. But the miracle that I think is the most convincing for us, if in fact there is evidence that it actually occurred, is the fact that Jesus both said he would rise from the dead and indeed did rise from the dead. The resurrection. Now, there have been attempts to explain away the resurrection, and let's consider some of those. If the resurrection didn't happen, what are the other alternatives? Well, one of them would be to question whether Jesus actually died. Did it occur? Well, again, independent corroboration. It's clear that Jesus did get nailed to a cross. Nobody disputes that. The evidence is all there. Even the pagans admit that happened. But maybe he was taken down before he died. I mean, really? Is that even a possibility, with the Romans guarding it, with the Jews carrying so much, that this radical upstart rebel be taken out of the picture? I don't think that's a very legitimate explanation, that somehow he was spirited away. Well, maybe they didn't really believe that he rose. Maybe he rose and that he lived on in their hearts. Well, then why would the gospel writers have shared the details that they did? He was not an apparition. He actually broke bread with them, the loaves and the fishes, the Gospel of Luke. At the road to Emmaus, the fact that he appears to Thomas and says, put your hand in my side, put your fingers on my nail wounds. Jesus had a physical body when he rose from the dead. This is what was believed about the resurrection. Well, could it have been a mass hallucination? That's another theory that some rationalists put forward as an explanation for the early disciples' belief in the resurrection. Perhaps they hallucinated, kind of like a David Koresh type sect. Well, notice that all these sects where you have some lunatic around whom others gather, they flare up and then they die out. Well, how do you explain that not only did Jesus's own followers remained convinced to the end, but Christianity spread like wildfire, unlike any false sect would have. What is the most logical, the most rational explanation? We need to consider, in fact, whether it's the most reasonable thing to take those of the time at their word that they really did see Jesus alive, bodily, after he died on the cross, that he indeed did rise from the dead. That's my 5 minutes for today. God bless.